What's happening, everybody? And thanks for tuning in to the Crash Bang Boom Drumming Podcast. Today's guest is Will Goldsmith, who presently plays with Assertion, as well as Sunny Day Real Estate, The Fire Theft, and was a former member of the Foo Fighters as well. Speaking of Assertion, their new record drops April 9th, so keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. And with Will as a guy who comes up a lot amongst drummers as an inspiration, it was super cool catching up with him. We got to talk about the recording experiences for some of the Sunny Day Real Estate records, as well as The Fire Theft, and of course the new Assertion record. So hope y'all dig the journey. Will's also a fellow July 4th Cancer drummer, as am I, so how about that? Shout out to my sponsor, New Orleans Record Press. If you're looking to release some vinyl for your project, hit them up at neworleansrecordpress.com, where you can check out all the electroplating, mastering, design, packaging, vinyl coloring options, and a whole lot more. They even got a real-time quote generator for you to keep tabs on everything. They also print 12 and 7-inch records at 150 and 180 gram variants, and they do small runs of 100 and larger runs up into the thousands. So hit them up, and that's neworleansrecordpress.com. Lastly, do please keep tabs on artists' live streams, lessons, tutorials, and masterclasses from your favorite musicians, merch or physical releases that are for sale, as well as websites like saveourstages.com that are very much looking to help out struggling venues in these tough times. All right, without further ado, the one, the only Will Goldsmith. Here we go. Crash, bang, boom.
Crowds go mad with joy. Get the drummer.
Yeah! All right, I'm here with Will Goldsmith, one of my favorite drummers, man, a fellow 4th of July drummer at that. We have the same birthday. I believe you're 71, I'm 76, so...
Oh, wow. I know 72, but
you're 72.
You're the only other person I've met who also has a July 4th birthday. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm the bicentennial 4th on top of that. So if I can live to be 100, William, it's going to be one hell of a fucking birthday, man.
I used to have the bicentennial Vistalite Ludwig.
Come
actually,
on.
At one point. Yeah, that was very cool. So
That's awesome, man. Well, how are you doing, man? I've been wanting to catch up with you, so this is really cool to be able to finally talk to you. I've been a fan of your playing for a long time. Love Sunny Day Real Estate. Really dug the Fire Theft. So many of your projects throughout the years. So definitely cool talking to you, man. How are you making out, buddy?
Great, actually. It's just been really, really great to be playing again and recording actually again.
Yeah.
Even though the first record is done, we're about 70% into the second record right now. So yeah.
Nice, keeping busy. New band Assertion. Tell me a little bit about the lemon year that was 2020 and what appears to be y'all making some lemonade out of a lemon year with this new record due out April 9th, entitled Intermission. So tell me a little bit about just what was going on with 2020. Did y'all just kind of lock down, record, and just crank out tunes? How is it going?
I think the latter part of 2019 we started recording, and then we were just doing it just to make demos and stuff, but then just kind of Justin mainly started really evolving his engineering skills, and we got some better mics recently and stuff like that, so we just decided to do the record here, which is how I prefer to do it anyway. So
absolutely. So it's been a relatively easy process without maybe the pressures and everything else associated with maybe going into a studio and that whole feeling.
Well, yeah. There, it's not like, it's not costing you a certain amount of money per day. It's, but so yeah, there's that freedom, and it's a more comfortable atmosphere, and you can basically sit and write and arrange a song and then track it. It's very cool. So yeah.
Awesome, man. When did Assertion start? Because I feel like I started seeing it on social media maybe in like 2018 or so. Is that about when y'all started?
It was 2019. I'm pretty sure. We started. Yeah.
Gotcha. So,
I could be wrong. I don't know. Time is weird for me. I have a hard time with it. So, but yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's 2019.
Gotcha. You had mentioned playing again. Had you gone through a little bit of a break where you hadn't been playing so much?
Yeah, I literally walked away from music completely for about 9 years. So.
9 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
That whole time, was it a relief to not have it in your life, but also kind of in the back of your head that maybe it was something that you'd want to get back into to have that outlet again?
Yeah, no, it was more like a poison that it wasn't in my life, but I pretended that it wasn't. But I mean, I was also busy with becoming a parent and, trying to make ends meet and things like that. So, and I also knew that I couldn't go on tour for extended periods of time because I'm a dad. So,
right.
But I was also using that as an excuse to keep hiding from music. Essentially, I was just was disenchanted for a while, but but I'm not anymore, so that's good.
Wow. Did you have to knock the rust off to get back on the instrument?
Yes. Yeah. No, there were some cobwebs that I had to shake off. Still shaking a couple off, but definitely a lot better now.
Yeah. It's funny how muscle memory works. You can neglect something and maybe some of the finer skills associated with it that you had polished up. You won't have those immediately, but you can reacquire them, but at least the foundation of it is there. But I've found if even just taking a break from injuries and getting back sometimes, it's the mechanics. Sometimes you can overwork yourself because you're trying to get something out. It's just reacclimating yourself to the physical aspect, especially with how physical you play. I imagine was it painful a little bit to get back into it initially?
Yeah. It absolutely was. Took maybe about a week or so before, like, I didn't have to like deal with like my arms cramping up about, like about an hour to playing. But yeah, but so far, but since then it's not a problem. So
awesome. I've been digging seeing you play in that Craviotto kit, and I was curious about how you came across that thing because it's a big kit. I see it in the back. I love the sound of it. That's a really interesting company that makes incredible drums.
Yes.
What's the story with that kit?
Jared, my friend Jared, who worked there, he contacted me and he said, "Hey, we want to custom build you a kit based on the dimensions of your kit that I was using at the time."
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Are you interested?" And I was like, "Yes."
Amazing.
So they did it, and yeah, that's my new home, basically.
That is amazing, man. How old is that kit?
Oh, so yeah, that was, sadly, tragically, I got this kit right when I stopped playing. So
wow.
At the time I was playing a 1947 Gretsch, and I had been playing that. And then when I got this kit, it just so happens it coincided with when everything kind of like I walked away. So, but I took them with me everywhere. So
yeah, right. Wow. That's crazy to think that you went through that 9-year period and you just had this incredible kit that was made for you sitting there. And then when you came out, that had to have been a little bit like a present of being like, oh, wow, this has just been sitting there waiting to be played. And now you're back on it. That's a cool reuniting.
Yeah. Or, when I would walk by them during those years and see them and be like, shut up. I know.
Speaking of drum sets, man, your first drum set, what do you remember about your first drum set?
It was a Yamaha. I remember that. And it was, yeah. And I still have, I think, one of the toms, but unfortunately the rest of the kit was destroyed in a flood. But
oh wow.
But yeah, I got that at 13. I started begging for a drum kit when I was about 5, and then it took until I was 13 for them to finally give in. And I got it on Christmas, set it up, and immediately started playing. So it's crazy.
Did your parents give you shit at all about what the present they had given you, given the noise that was now in the house?
No, they didn't. Although I had them in the basement for a while, and then I would set my brother's speakers up behind me, and then I would like basically blast Led Zeppelin and The Who and different things to try to play along,
Yeah.
But they were quite a ways away at the time, so.
Yeah, right.
In the house.
Amazing. You mentioned the Zeppelin and The Who, so Bonham and Keith Moon, respectively. They're two very polar opposite players in a sense. I mean, you have such of the concrete mixer foundation that was Bonham, and then you have this wild animal that was Keith. So that's interesting that those two, maybe the spectrum between those two players, those being your influences, I would imagine that is something that would last for you for many years to come.
Yeah, it was John Bonham's foot that I was very much so interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. And his tuning and everything else.
Well, sure, and his everything else, not just his foot, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was very inspired by both.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting. I've spoken about it, and the bass players with the other part of the rhythm section for The Who and Zeppelin, you have John Entwistle, and then you have John Paul Jones, both kind of like walking style, fluid sort of bass style, but then two totally different drummers.
Yep.
And then that's what informed that rhythm section. It's interesting how that turned out, right?
I know, it is very interesting. Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you feel like Bonham to this day is still with you? I mean, I feel like that's always been something that I've heard in your playing is Bonham.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, there's been other influences, but as far as that foundational inspiration, that's definitely one of them.
Right.
Sure.
Absolutely. We were talking a little bit about sort of the bombast in which you play. Were there any particular heavy players in the Seattle area or local scene when you were growing up that sort of maybe gave you some inspiration into the ferocity in which you would sort of embrace in your own playing?
Yeah, like Dale Crover.
Of course.
And I went and saw Nirvana play with Sonic Youth, and he was playing drums. And yeah, that was very mind blowing.
Nice.
I was in high school actually when I went and saw that. So yeah, that had a big impact on me. But as the years went on, Mac McNeely, Jesus Lizard, Pete, and we were just talking about Pete Moffat, Government Issue.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a laundry list. But yeah, those are a few key ones.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, Scotty from Carp.
Nice. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Jesus Lizard as well. I've always felt that there was a little bit of a Zeppelin sort of rhythm section happening in the Jesus Lizard as well, despite how sort of angular and bizarre that band was.
Yeah, I've heard them being compared to Led Zeppelin and the Birthday Party.
I could see that.
Put together, yeah. I didn't come up with that, but I was like, oh, that's actually makes sense.
Yeah, right? Oh, man, I've loved the Jesus Lizard. Such an acquired taste. I remember when I got my first cassette tape from them, it was used from this crazy place in the French Quarter in New Orleans, and I got it, and I heard it, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I just wasn't ready for it. And then
Then you saw them live?
No, actually, I got fired from my job, and I revisited it, and there was just something having been fired. I was like, this is now the soundtrack for this time in life. I got fired.
I got you. Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. I was going to say, like, that would be either the antidote or going to see them live and being like, oh, okay, I get it.
Right.
So,
right.
Sure.
Were you seeing them back in the day, I imagine, for those early records?
Yes. Yeah. And then when we ended up playing shows with them, I was like, hey, how's it going? I was like, whoa, crazy.
That's awesome. God, I love that band. When Sunny Day Real Estate was first starting out, I think that the word or the phrase, whatever, emo gets thrown around with that band. Were there sort of bands that you felt embraced some of those aspects prior to y'all necessarily?
I mean, the whole emo thing, it's never really made sense to me because it just pretty much means like emotional, right?
Right. Which is what you want.
And like, so the launching pad for art since the beginning of everything has always been human emotions. So
totally,
how that is like some sort of new thing,
it's weird.
It doesn't make sense, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
An article about Rites of Spring?
I believe Rites of Spring was the origins of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but then in the hardcore scene that we were, a part of, if someone called someone emo, it was like an insult. It meant you were the one that was like basically standing in front and screaming to show everybody how into it you were.
Right.
And like, like seeking attention. I didn't say that, but I heard someone say, look at that emo guy. I was like, oh, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, right.
And I guess they got it from that article. But, so yeah, and then all of a sudden when people started calling us emo, we were all like, wait a minute, what? Wait a minute. Wait, why? When did that happen?
Right.
So it used to bother me. It doesn't anymore. It's just like, whatever. I don't know. It's just songs. They're songs. That's
I know, right?
Yeah.
I was talking to drummer Adam Wade of Shudder to Think and Dropbox and all that. He's also another Cancer drummer. I think he's the one that reminded me that you and I had the same birthday, which is crazy.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, and isn't his in July too?
He is. Yeah. He's another Cancer. Yeah, he's July. He's not late June. He's totally in July.
Yeah.
He's close to us, I think, even.
Yeah.
But on some of those Sunny Day Real Estate tours when y'all were first starting out, I believe, didn't y'all play some shows with Shudder to Think? And did they seem as though that those were kind of kindred spirits, maybe?
Well, yeah, we toured the last tour that Sunny Day did, and we were broken up when we did the tour. But basically, the tour was booked. We broke up like, well, let's do the tour.
Right.
So, but we were already fans of Shudder to Think previous to that. So yeah, kindred spirits, or they were definitely an influence on Sunny Day for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very much an anomaly of a band. I mean, I think what they did and what Sunny Day did, two different things. But I think in y'all doing your own things, I think that y'all were sort of separate from the pack, so to speak, in that sense.
Yeah.
So maybe there was that sort of kindred spirit. But that the Shudder to Think was a very off-kilter, bizarre even band, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Very, very, very interesting music for sure.
Absolutely. Were there any other bands around that time that maybe y'all toured with that you felt were also like complementary to what y'all were doing necessarily?
We went on tour 30-06, and they were definitely, I don't think we didn't sound anything alike, but had a lot of the same inspirations and things.
Right.
Then we'd also toured with that Shudder to Think tour. Soul Coughing went on the tour for part of it, and then Brainiac.
Okay.
Brainiac as well, and they
Nice.
were amazing. So,
Cool.
but no one that we really shared a similar sound or approach to. Everybody was completely different.
Right.
Yeah, actually, speaking of Jesus Lizard, Sunny Day actually played a show opening for Jesus Lizard, and that was a very bizarre. Those are very completely different.
Oh, wow.
That's where we first met him. But yeah, that was the most terrifying sound check of my life, having Mac McNeely in the room. But he was really, really nice immediately.
Absolutely. That's awesome, man. Well, with those first two Sunny Day Real Estate records, and it sounds like there's no shortage of ups and downs over the course of those. Obviously, you got to say the least, right? You end up in the Foo Fighters, and I know with the way that ended, obviously not the most ideal situation to say the least. But in getting in it, was it mixed emotions for you in that you were joining something that was sort of getting off the ground and was gaining traction, so you had an outlet for that, but maybe you weren't creatively involved in it, so then that was lacking? I mean,
it was a pretty surreal experience just because there were a lot of fans that were already there that,
Right.
Big fans of Nirvana. So waiting for anyone from Nirvana to do anything.
yeah.
It was a very surreal experience. But yeah, no, I would definitely say that there wasn't much collaboration as far as like the approach towards creating the songs.
Of course.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the hard part.
Gotcha. And then how long, I know it was a pretty extensive tour that led up from the release of that first one to what the second one that was released, but how long were y'all out for? I know there were some breaks, but
17 months in total.
wow.
Yeah.
So no shortage of shows. My God.
Yeah, I know, it was a lot.
Were you physically pretty beat from that?
Yeah, it was hard. Physically, it was hard, but also like when you're playing the same thing night after night after night for that long, it's kind of like saying a word to yourself over and over again until it stops making sense.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it started to kind of go into that realm. I was like it was just, it became this bizarre thing, but got to the other side, but ultimately chose to leave. So
Right. When getting out of that string of shows and everything that went down, did you have any lasting injuries that you were dealing with from that run of so many shows and all, just that being so exhausted?
yeah, and those injuries continued to get worse after that. After Sunny Day got back together, and I got to a point in around 2000 where that's where I had to basically deal with the issues head on, which was a process. Yeah.
Was it mainly like just carpal tunnel / tendonitis?
Yeah, hands constantly going numb. I couldn't lift my arms past this point without my shoulders just feeling like somebody was putting knives in them.
Oh man.
And every single night when I slept, it just felt like I was sleeping with knives in my shoulders. That's what it
Jesus.
felt like.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, it was really brutal. And finally got to a point where it was like I had to do something, So I did a lot of things. I did a whole different, various combination of things, but one was cleaning my digestive system. The other one was stopping drinking, and the other one was rolfing. I don't know if you know what rolfing is, but it's basically like, it's not massage. It's similar, but it's more like with elbows, and pressure and weight, and basically pressure and time to basically break down your muscle tissue and then let it rebuild itself back and get back to its original pattern is what they would call it.
Right.
So that, and then started martial arts training and drinking like 12 ounces of wheatgrass a day, 4 ounces every 2 hours. Just went completely berserk trying to like undo the damage, both from say years of drinking and then also just,
Bashing
and also bashing without any kind of proper training. I never took lessons. I was just a kid that just started doing it,
Right. Were there ergonomic adjustments that ensued at any point after all of that physical rehabilitation necessarily?
Yeah, some of them happened naturally, and then others, just sort of like talking to like say Jason McGurr from Death Cab for Cutie, and he helped me like work on my my grip and adjust my hand position and watch it, stuff like that.
Right. In regards to you getting back in Sunny Day Real Estate, which is kind of where we're at, I guess, in the time frame here, I found out sort of about how it feels to be something on after it had been released. In fact, even after Rising Tide was released, I'm pretty sure. But I moved to New York from New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina in 2005.
Wow.
And then somehow, like how it feels to be something on, I figure I don't remember how I even came across it, but I came across it and I was like, this album is amazing. And it kind of became the soundtrack for that point in my life. So I have this bizarre, like, nostalgic connection to that sort of very strange time in my life where I was living in New York, having lived in Louisiana my whole life prior to that.
Yeah.
And it's bizarre. When I listen to it, I still think about that time in my life, which is just,
wow.
It's really bizarre. But that being said, I listened to that record. I think your performance is awesome on it. I think the record sounds great. I think the songs are great. What was it that sort of went into that record that, to my ear, it's that band, I just feel like y'all never sounded better, man.
Yeah, no, we were definitely, well, it was a surprise that it actually ended up happening, because originally I got a call from our friend Greg Williamson, who was working with Jeremy Enoch a lot. And he basically was talking about us getting together and going through these old recordings of Sunny Days and putting out like a rarities record or something they were talking about. But then I don't remember whose idea it was, but then we just ended up setting up in Jeremy's basement and then just went down there and then wrote that record, basically.
Awesome.
Just started working on it, yeah. So yeah, and then Nate was pretty busy, and so Jeff Palmer, who used to be in a band called the Mommy Heads, came in and played bass, and he's an amazing bass player, actually.
Nice.
So that was good, yeah. His bass playing, is a big part of that record, I think.
Absolutely. Killer bass playing, for sure.
Yeah.
Given like how the Foo Fighters thing went down, and then you're back in a studio, having not had the pan out with that, like, how were you like mentally, emotionally for going into the studio? Were you kind of dealing with a little bit of the Foo Fighters bullshit, so to speak, like in the back of your head? Or, because you sound great on that record, man.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of PTSD. It's the difference between working with a producer who basically no matter what you did wasn't going to be satisfied, because they really didn't want you playing on the record anyway.
Right.
And then there's the difference between that and then a guy who's actually an old friend of yours. And so, yeah, it was pretty comfortable.
What, did you knock out the drums pretty quickly, do you recall?
From what I remember, yeah. We didn't spend a whole bunch of time on it.
The Gretsch kit that you mentioned, is that what you recorded that record with?
No, I used that same AOT kit that I was using in the Foo Fighters.
Ah, damn, it sounds good, man.
Yeah. Don't have that kit anymore, but yeah.
Wow. Yeah, Every Shining Time You Arrive is one of those songs that I hear and I just love every time. It's one of my all-time favorite songs from y'all by far. And in particular, I think the groove that you played on it is killer, and the drums, the snare sounds like it was recorded down a hall with the snare in like a tiled basement or like a kitchen or something. It sounds amazing, man.
Yeah, it was a Keplinger snare drum. So yeah, I used an AOT kit, but always Keplinger snare drum, but I should mention that. But and also the Bob Lang studio where we were recording is it's kind of a cavernous sounding place a little bit.
Sounds like there's a lot of room mics on those drums. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me, and I'm always a fan of that. And if you got a great room, great kit, everything, the stars align. If you can have that in the mix, then that's where some of the magic happens. And I think y'all got it on that record.
Yeah. You have to be careful if it's too cavernous, you know what I mean?
Sure.
I've grown more fond of wood than stone as far as like rooms, for playing and recording and room sounds. But I really like what we're getting here.
Right.
And this is a very small room, but it's just it's got a very sort of guerrilla approach.
Yeah. With do you recall who mixed How It Feels to Be Something on?
Adam Casper.
Okay. I don't know if I'm familiar with him.
Pretty sure he did Super Unknown.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know he did that record. I'd have to go and check I know he's done a bunch of other records, but that's one that I know that because he was finishing that when he was about to start mixing ours. So.
Were there aspects of where How It Feels to Be Something on that were recorded live with just baffles, or was it all pretty isolated? Like we do the drums, we layer the bass, that kind of process.
Yeah, I know we tracked all together, and then I think there maybe was a song or two where we did the bass and drums live.
Nice.
But then I do remember in my mind's eye, I can see him standing in the control room and tracking bass too. And then Jeremy and Dan, they overdubbed their guitars. Yeah.
Gotcha. With Rising Tide, man, and that's an interesting story with kind of what happened with the band coming out of that. But again, amazing songs like One and Killed by an Angel. And I've talked to guys from like Cave In, and J.R. Connors, the drummer, was telling me like how that record was a big influence on them and kind of how they sort of reinvented themselves at a particular point in time.
Wow.
Was the process of recording that record tougher, different? How was that different, I guess, from the previous record necessarily for you?
No, it wasn't tougher. It was pretty relaxed. It was with Lou Giordano, who did Sugar, Copper Blue, Bob Mould. And then he also did Bob Mould's first 2 solo records. Mm-hmm. He also used to be Husker Du's sound man.
Okay.
And but he's a really, really nice guy. It was a really relaxed atmosphere. It was in an old church in upstate New York from like the 1800s.
Awesome.
And we were surrounded by massive amounts of snow. So yeah, it was, but it was 3 months we were there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, that again, it's a more like clean, sort of higher produced record, I feel like, quote unquote, than maybe How It Feels to Be Something On there. They have 2 different kind of sounds to me. But
yeah, totally different.
Yeah, right. But I mean, again, I think it worked for you. I think that record as well, it sounds great and just has some incredible songs on it again. What happened with the band after that? I think, was there some funding that fell out with the record company when y'all were about to go out on tour after that? Is that what happened with that?
I know that Time Bomb was a subsidiary of Arista, and basically Arista dropped Time Bomb. And so then our record just basically became a record owned by them, but just sort of stuck on a shelf in a way. Released, but not really supported.
Gotcha.
But we went on tour anyway, and that was fine. People came to see us, but yeah, it got to be a little frustrating just because from anybody, I mean, we were just like, they have the record, they own that record, and it's like, but they don't even talk to us. It's weird.
Wow. For How It Feels to Be Something On, who put that one out, record company wise?
Sub Pop.
Oh, okay. So I imagine there was a little bit more of an artist to record company relation, especially with.
Well, sure.
Yeah, exactly. And then y'all just get your record that you just worked on shelved.
Well, yeah. Well, and then also the guys from Time Bomb, we would interact with them constantly. But then after that, it was like, and then Arista owned it. I've never met anybody from. I have no idea. Never met anybody from there.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
So yet another setback, man. So that's the Sunny Day story. From what I know, it's quite truly just peaks, valleys, and everything in between. Man, it's a fucking crazy ride, huh?
Yeah, even more so than But it's almost like going into details and trying to explain it is almost more frustrating than interesting. both to tell and hear, I think.
Yeah.
But then after that, we did the Fire Theft record.
Absolutely, which I also love, man. Great songs on that, like Chain, Summertime, Waste Time, Heaven. Amazing songs. I've been a fan of Jeremy's voice. I thought that the songs were strong. Again, I think your playing is great. Particularly, I love your playing on Summertime, man. Every time I hear that, it's just classic, great, big drums,
Oh, I used that 76 a bicentennial Vista Light on that record, actually, except for one song.
Come on, really?
Yeah.
That drum set sounds killer on that record.
Yeah, well, it was Brad Wood that produced it, and he's got the, I can get a good drum sound anywhere attitude. So we recorded that in our house that we lived in at the time.
Really?
Basically in the basement, yeah.
And there were some subsequent shows that y'all did do some shows, some minimal touring after that record?
Yeah, no, we toured the U.S. a few times, I think, and then Europe once, I believe, yeah. And then after that, yeah, and then Jeremy decided to go do some solo stuff, and then I started playing with a project called Brawley Banks for a while.
Okay.
And then that started in like 2008, and then in 2009, Sunny Day did a reunion tour. But yeah.
It sounds like Jeremy sort of comes and goes, but the two of you have managed to withstand everything and I guess maintain a relationship throughout all of this and different projects and everything all over. How many years has it been?
So I met Jeremy when he was 14 and I was 16 and I am 40. How old am I now? 49, I think.
Yeah, I think
40,
yeah.
Yeah. So let's do the math. How many years? That's a long time.
A long time. We know that much.
Yeah. I just talked to him a few days ago, actually.
Awesome. Is there any, I mean, I know you're obviously doing the Assertion thing. Of course, live music in general everything has been so suspended and strange as of late. Is there talk at all that maybe any sunny day plans might arise at some point down the line?
Well, I know Jeremy's going to maybe come out and do some playing on the Assertion record.
Awesome.
But just for the hell of it, just for fun. But as far as anything sunny day real estate wise, I just don't know.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
Totally.
But my relationship with Jeremy is good. My relationship with Dan was not good, but it is now, so that's good.
Gotcha.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Sure.
I will say this. I'm not opposed to it. I'm perfectly, I'd be very much so into recording stuff here.
Yeah. I was thinking about, we talked a little bit about some of your drums throughout the years, but at some point, and correct me if I'm wrong, what was one of the bigger ride cymbals that you played?
Oh, it's right there. Is that a 29-inch ride over there? Behind the bit, that. Pretty sure it's 29.
That's outrageous.
Yeah.
How the hell did you find a cymbal case for that fucking thing?
I had one custom made. Yeah, and that thing was a huge pain in the ass.
Oh, it had to have been.
Yeah, so I had a 30-inch ride that was really thick that I would play on my right with just my fist.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 29 was like my main one. Is it 29 or 28? It doesn't matter. It's still ridiculously big, but
yeah,
that was my main ride. Yeah, here. But yeah, I know. Pretty crazy. I just found it in this store, like somewhere in the South, like this old, music shop. It was almost like an antique store, but it was sitting there, and I was like, that is amazing.
And then you had to figure out have a case custom made for the damn thing.
Yeah. It was just like an anvil case. Yeah, it had wheels on it, but it was ridiculously huge, and I still have that. That's downstairs, actually.
Amazing.
But yeah, pain in the ass though.
Damn, man. So we've kind of gone through the phases of your playing and different bands, etc., projects and whatnot. We mentioned Assertion at the top of this. I know you'll have a new record coming out. You have a new song that's going to be released. So tell me a little bit about what to expect coming up in the next couple of months or so.
So the first single has been released, Supervised Suffering. Mm-hmm. And I know that the BBC Radio 1, and we were the song of the week.
Nice.
On there yesterday, I believe, which was, we were like, what? So that was kind of cool. And then, we have the Lamb to the Slaughter Pulls a Knife is the second single.
Okay.
And that's coming out on the 25th.
Gotcha.
And the record itself is coming out on the 9th. So,
nice. Yeah. Awesome. Looking forward to that, man.
So, and then, I know we're planning on doing some touring, just sort of waiting for things to be possible, to do that again. And, but then aside from that, we've been, since we couldn't go out and play shows or tour, we just kept writing and recording. Yeah. So we finished that record, and we're about 70% into the second record. So
awesome. Congrats on that.
Which is really cool. Yeah, I'm really excited about that one.
Nice. Look at you back in the saddle, and you got a productive band and the time down just to make the best of it to be able to record and all this stuff. It sounds like you've been on a good roll, man.
Well, yeah, thanks to Justin Tominga, basically. He brought the mics and the gear here, and he's been engineering. So I've just been fortunate enough to be playing with him. So
absolutely, man. Well, man, it was great talking to you. I appreciate the time, and it's funny when I watched that Foo Fighters documentary, there was a point in time where you said something about how you thought that maybe people's perceptions of you as a drummer would be like the guy that played in Foo Fighters and what did or didn't happen with this and that and the other. But everyone I've ever talked to about you, none of that is ever mentioned, and all it ever is oh, that guy's like my favorite drummer. I love his bombast, I love his sound, I love his groove, I love all that, and I'm in that camp as well. So it was awesome talking to you, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you.
Absolutely. And happy early birthday, July 4th.
You as well.
I'll have some champagne for you on our mutual birthday.
Right on. Yeah. All sparkling cider.
There you go, man.
Right.
Right on. Thanks for talking to me, Will.
Thank you, sir.
All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in and hope y'all enjoyed it. Thanks to Will for hanging, and super cool catching up with him as I am a fan, and I'm not the only one. New Assertion record out April 9th. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Crash, bang, boom.